Hello, everyone, and welcome to another elite episode of the Get Authentic with Marcus show. I'm your host, Marques Ogden. On today's episode, we are joined by Miss Lisa Wolchuk. And you know what? Let's bring her on down. How you doing today, Lisa?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Marcus. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Lisa, first question, young lady. What does the word authentic/authenticity mean to you?
Well, Marcus, that's a really good question. I would say that authenticity means to me about having self-love. It means
Hmm.
being true to yourself first in order for you to be true um, to the principles that guide you in life. So having self-love, doing things that honor yourself, committing to yourself. So, as an example, going to the gym every day, you can't break commitments to yourself because that's not being authentic to yourself. So, I think following a life plan that is authentic to yourself by being in a position of self love is how you're able to treat other people and taking all of that energy and putting it out into the universe.
You know what, Lisa? I love how you said it's the energy that you bring and how you treat people. It reminds me when I had my construction company, we were
Yeah.
growing and we were building. I treated my people like gold. But unfortunately, when I got to the top of the summit and I didn't find a new summit to pursue and go after, I got very complacent. I got very
Hmm.
arrogant. I got very toxic. As a result of that, right, Lisa? I kept pushing away my best people. Next thing you know, Lisa, I'm completely out of business and I lost everything. So this is sensational because you talk a lot about just how to really treat people and self love, which is so big when it comes to authenticity. Because I tell you, right, Lisa, if you don't love yourself, who's going to? If everybody else likes you, right, Lisa, but you don't
Hmm.
like yourself, you're not winning in life. You're not
No,
winning.
no, and it's about how you treat yourself. So if you don't treat yourself with love, how are you going to put that onto others? So when you see someone being rude to another person, like if I go into a restaurant and I see someone being disrespectful to the wait staff, that really upsets me. And you know what I realize? That person doesn't have self-love because if they did, they would never treat another human being disrespectfully.
Mm. Lisa, so well said. And you know, and I couldn't agree more because again, if you're disrespecting somebody, in my opinion, you're not joy filled with yourself, right?
100%.
You're constantly seeking happiness, which is basically an external feeling. You're trying to get
Mhm.
somebody else to validate your feeling at the moment externally. That's what I call happiness. And then
Yeah.
joy is when you find internal peace. It's consistent, it's authentic, it's you. And when you get to
Yes.
that point, being joy filled, it's not a temporary item, it's more of a permanent fixture because you know how to love yourself and treat yourself in the best way. What are your thoughts on that, Lisa?
I would agree 100%. It's also not being afraid to be yourself. I find that, sometimes people have to put on this front and they have to, go along with certain things because they feel like they want people to like them or be around them. But when you're just yourself and you are completely comfortable in your own skin, that's what attracts people. They love that because they see you're authentically confident, you're authentically showing yourself self-love, that you're acting in a way that is is completely authentic to you. And people attract to that because
Mm.
how many people wish that they could live in that way? So many people don't live that way. That's why there's such a tiny small percentage of people that are actually successful because they've learned the secret and a lot of people haven't.
You know, Lisa, that's a really great point because if you want to be successful and have it be consistent and have it be, always flowing your way, it's all about the work you put in, the preparation you put in every single day in the dark. What's the old saying, right, Lisa? What you do in the dark is going to show in the light. So this is really
That
great. I mean, I love this. So, Lisa, please tell us more about your story and your personal journey and what you're doing now to serve and or help your client base?
So, I mean, I think everybody has a story of, something that happened to them that triggered something to make them change their lives or recognize what was happening in their life. And so I would say that several years ago, I had some friends and things didn't work out the way that I had expected friends to treat each other. And that really put me on a self-love journey to recognize and understand why certain things happen. And it really helped me become much more spiritual, to become consistent, understanding how important it is to not just not break commitments to other people, but not to break commitments to yourself. Again, being authentic. And so that journey showed me that our thoughts are what brings energy. So when we focus on things that are negative or things that we're nervous or scared about, we're telling the universe to bring that to us because that's where our thoughts are focused. So for me, I really tried to recognize the things that I was really good at. I really tried to recognize the things that other people were good at and really hone in on that and be able to harness that energy so that whenever I go somewhere, I always want to make other people feel good about themselves. I was in a mall once with my kids, and I remember there was this young girl that was in this dress, and she looked so beautiful, and she was very overweight, but she looked beautiful in what she was wearing, and she needed to know how great she looked. So I said to my kids, I'm going to go up and tell her how beautiful she looks. And my kids were like, oh my goodness, mom, that's going to be embarrassing. Please don't do that. I'm like, no, you should tell someone when they look good, they should feel good. So I went up to her and said, I just want to tell you how beautiful you look in your dress. So flattering. It's so impressive. And this girl, her smile was so big. It was unreal and it made her day. And you know what? That's the way people should live their lives. So in my business, I really try to make other people feel good, to recognize all of their amazing qualities because everybody has them. We just need to focus on the good, not the bad.
Ladies and gentlemen, we all have great talents. We need to focus on the good and not the
Hmm.
bad. That's
Hmm.
everything, right? I love this. So, Lisa, now let's talk more about, as far as the work you're doing. Get into like some of the nitty gritty of it. Talk to our global audience about how you serve your clients and what is the why, or I call it the magic factor to why people love to engage you in all that you do.
I would say that my magic is that I have good energy. So people attract to me because, again, I make them feel good. When I work with my clients, I really like to understand what their objectives are. What do they want out of their life? What are they looking to accomplish? And then really filling out what that why looks like because motivation comes and goes. And you could be motivated for the next 2 weeks. I'm going to go on this diet, I'm going to be consistent, but then it falls off because you get tired and life happens. So having that framework where you have why am I doing this? Why is it important for me to go on a diet or why is it important for me to go to the gym? And it comes back from my example is it's important for me to live a healthy long life, to be strong and go into my old age healthy so that I can live longer for my children. And so when you remember those things, it's not about the motivation, it's about why you do it. So when I work with my clients, I really hone in on them understanding exactly what those objectives are and then working that way into building a plan. Where do they want to be in the next 5 years and how do they want to feel about themselves? So, taking a model, looking at other people and saying, this is someone that I'm inspired by and I want to get to those goals because you can do anything you put your mind to. You just have to put your mind in that direction. So really being true to yourself, making sure that you surround yourself with people that are going to generate positive energy, not being around people that are energy vampires. We all know those. You go out with someone and you feel exhausted when you come back because they've taken all of the light and energy out of you. So, really being able to recognize that. And so, when I work with my customers, they recognize these things. Weekly, we're having calls and we're having different activities that I give them on their own to fill out so that they start to really understand themselves better so they can achieve all the goals that they're looking to accomplish.
I'm loving this whole talk about energy and goals and working together and helping people to accomplish what they set out to do. And it's really fantastic because, again, Lisa, I want to talk about sales, right? I want to talk about how or what is sales. And I heard you say this word several times today, and I absolutely love it, energy. I think
Hmm.
sales is the transfer of energy. If I'm excited, passionate, have conviction about something, if I'm trying to sell it to someone, in my opinion, I need to be able to transfer my excitement, my passion, my energy onto whoever is buying the product and or the service. Because when I do that, right, Lisa, I feel once the energy is transferred from you to the buyer,
Yeah.
it goes way up. They're going to buy. Talked about this yesterday in Kansas and the day before in Scottsdale. If I can tell somebody is high energy, trustworthy, and they are engaging and they listen to me, I will buy from them, right, Lisa? Even when I don't need it. Even when I don't need it.
It's so funny that you say that because it's true. People don't buy from companies, they buy from people. So, yes, they're representing a company, they're representing a brand, there's a product, there's a solution. They're buying from that person because they want to be comfortable that when they put, something in place, they're going to be implementing. Let's just say we'll use software as an example. They're going to be spending a lot of money on a software solution. They want to make sure that that money that they're spending, that that person is going to be backing what their word. They want to feel comfortable that the money they're spending is going to bring them that value. So when we talk to people and we go in and speak to people and we're selling, the most important thing is listening to what they need, is listening, is being captive audience, is understanding what their pain points are and making them feel heard. And when that happens, that's one of the first bases to building that trust with that client. That's how they become comfortable. And again, it all comes down to energy, as we've spoken about a few times on this discussion, is that when you go in there with that level of energy, that energy is feeding off that person. They're feeling it. And people want to be around people that make them feel good.
Mm.
And so that's how you differentiate yourself from somebody else that's selling. You're listening and you make people feel good because you go in there with that positive attitude and that strong energy, and those things matter.
Lisa, it's all about our ability not only make the client feel good, but also make them feel that whatever problems they told us or are looking for us to address, they need to see through action and basically checking things off of a list that we're doing it because we've actually been actively listening. So, Lisa, we're chatting about potentially having me do some speaking for your organization. So, Lisa, I spoke twice in 2 days in two different cities. I spoke in Scottsdale, Arizona for our client Trucordia, and I spoke in Wichita, Kansas for one of our clients, KAIA, Kansas Association of Insurance Agents. The funny thing is, right, Lisa,
Yeah.
both of them told me, Marques, your keynote presentation, what we did for Trucordia and for KAIA, they said, Marques, your presentation was right on point. The PowerPoint, we could tell right away that your team and you were listening on the pre-con call. We could tell that you made it individualized with our logos, our information. One of the talks had one of the clients' creeds in the talk, in the presentation deck. It had in there their mission and their mantra, the whole 9 yards, right, Lisa? And so what I'm getting at is
Mm.
when you're trying to stand out, right, in business, you need to really go the extra mile. I call that
Yeah.
deliver excellent customer experience, not
Yes.
service, experience, because that
100%.
is between the start of the sale to when the sale is done. And after the sale's done, right, at least something goes wrong, in comes excellent customer service. But the customer experience is what makes them feel special and want to buy. So my question, right, Lisa, in the work that you do in corporate, how do you help people understand the importance of that, of making sure that they feel a sense of amazing customer experience and that they will not only want to work with you, right, Lisa? They'll refer you to their friends, their clients, and so on. As a matter of fact, I actually got an email from one of the clients I spoke for, Trucordia. They sent an email to another event production company because Trucordia hires event production companies to help them. Mm-hmm. So one event production company sent an email to another event production company in Dallas saying how well the event went and how Marques will probably be there in Dallas with us because it went so well in Scottsdale. But going back to my question, right, Lisa, how do you help people understand the importance of delivering excellent customer experience?
So I would say, going back to being authentic, being your authentic self, listening to what they have to say, saying what doing what you say, not over promising and under delivering, but over delivering and showing them that when you say you're going to do something, you're going to follow through. It's okay to have issues. In fact, we've done studies that show that companies and customers are far more loyal when you've had an issue and you've resolved it effectively than never having an issue at all, because then they recognize that when there is a problem, you're going to be the one that they can go to trust and be comfortable that you're going to have this resolved for them. So I would say that providing that experience for a client is really listening to them and really being able to follow through on what you say you're going to do. Nothing is ever going to be perfect, ever. And that's okay. But it's as long as you are saying what you are going to do and following through to that and providing that level of experience for the customer. That means a lot to people. I mean, we all know that when we meet with someone, your guard goes down when there's that level of comfort where you start to feel trust with them. And how do you feel trust? When they listen to you. When they listen and you feel that they've heard what you said, you begin to open up to them because you're like, this person, they're really listening to me. They care about what I have to say. So it's really being curious, but genuinely curious, right? It's actually listening, active listening, not thinking about what you want to say before they've completed their sentence, but listening to what they have to say and then responding in kind. And I feel like that has been my experience, following through, meeting my clients, making them feel heard, doing what I'm going to say that I'm going to do has provided that experience. And that's really definitely provided the success that I've had in corporate with my customers.
Lisa, what I really respect about you is you're really sharing what you have been doing for your career to have fulfillment and joy in it by focusing on the client, the customer, not your agenda, not what you want to sell. I tell people all the time, sales is not about what you want. It's about getting people or giving people what they want. For example, Lisa, I have a question for you. So when I spoke, right, because you've been around a lot of events, seen a lot of speakers, this is kind of a nice question about how you've seen it, but also in your work presenting to people, trying to get business in that regard. So one of the clients also told me on Monday, they said, Marques, it was so nice when we opened up your slide deck and your presentation. You were the only one that we did not have to have a edit around it because we could see right away from the detail of the deck to our logo, to our colors, that you paid full attention when we had our pre-con meeting. And that gives us even more faith that we made the right selection. And this is what it's all about, right? Like, Lisa, what people need, not what we want to quote unquote offer and or sell them. But again, it tied in because our keynote was created specifically for that client, nobody else. And so that's the type of one-on-one experience we're delivering to people constantly. So my question is, Lisa, how important is it for people that are listening to this amazing podcast episode, if they're trying to sell something, mastering active listening, but at the same time, if you're going to create a marketing material or something to give back to the client, how it really has to be in full alignment right, Lisa, with what that company is looking for?
So first, I have to say that I have chills after you said that because I absolutely love that. That you did such an amazing job that they did not need to edit anything. And I mean, that's awesome. That speaks to obviously your authenticity and your ability to listen and provide that experience. So that's amazing. Kudos to you. I would say that with respect to that, I think there's so many different things when we talk about experiences, when you're going in and talking to clients and understanding what they need. But it's more than just that. It's about understanding their industry. It's about doing research prior to going into that meeting. It's about understanding what industry issues that could be impacting them and understanding all those different variables that come into play, really doing your homework and knowing, what role do they play in the organization? How is this going to impact them? Because in my situation, selling software, you don't want to disrespect somebody that's in IT and make them feel like their job's going to be replaced. So it's really not just about listening, that's obviously key, but it's about really recognizing what issues could come into play for them and recognizing, yeah, we're trying to sell them something, but no one wants to buy something on our agenda. They want to buy something on their agenda. So providing them that value proposition based on all of those different things, the variables, listening, your own authentic self, that's what people buy from other people. That's why they buy from you because they feel like you're completely aligning with what they need. And that's how people become successful.
Lisa, a couple of points. Number one, kudos to you on what you said because that's so true. I'm going to say a couple statements. Love to get your thoughts on each statement. So I
Yeah.
spoke for KAIA, Kansas Association of Insurance Agents, in early February, yesterday. So I said this, and I want your thoughts on this. Your conviction is your client's shield. What we're trying to tell them is that the people selling insurance to their clients, their conviction, their belief in themselves and their abilities to do their job is the shield that their clients are basically getting when they buy insurance with them to protect them in case something goes wrong. Because I told the room yesterday, people don't buy your product or your service or what you're selling. They buy you, your excitement, your passion, your belief in what you're selling. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I love that. That's 100%. Exactly. When you walk into a room and you're confident and you're excited to speak to someone, think about how that's going to change their energy. When you go into a room and you've got people that are not, they're kind of just sitting there and they're quiet, but you come into a room like a hurricane. You're passionate, you're excited, they love that. They pick up on that, right? That's amazing. People are buying from you. And when you provide all of that connection and you listen to what they have to say and you recognize exactly how your product is going to help serve them, you're not selling the product, you're selling that experience, they're going to buy it. Who doesn't want to have a great experience, right? So I think
Oh,
that makes perfect sense.
100%. I love this. Ladies and gentlemen, it's about our ability to make people feel that what they're trying to get done and how we can help them is all that matters most. And again, that's a big one. So, Lisa, I have a question for you.
Mm.
What do you feel has been your best trait, your most sharpest tool in your tool shed or your toolbox that has allowed you to do so well in corporate where other people maybe have been around as long as you have certain types good skill set, right, Lisa, but haven't had the same type of joy, success, prosperity on that you've had because this magic factor, among probably others, has been your sharpest tool in your tool shed that's allowed you to do such greatness and great things in your career. What would that one item be?
I would say it's building relationships. It's my ability to be able to connect with people on a human level. and be my authentic self. I don't try to pretend to be somebody different. Sometimes I could be a little bit more open than I should be, but I never judge myself based on that because people like me and appreciate that I'm authentically me. And not everybody's going to love that, but I'm pretty sure, and based on my success that I've had in corporate, I would say that most people are going to be aligned with that. And when I worked at a different company, those same people that I sold to bought from me at my new company, and that was a competitor. And that speaks to the fact that I had those relationships that I was able to maintain, and I was able to offer them that great customer experience that they wanted to have somewhere else. So it doesn't matter what brand you're representing. And I mean, those individuals that you spoke with, selling insurance is not easy. There's a lot of competitors, and that's a hard thing to sell. So it's even more important when you're looking at an industry like that is to sell yourself because people are buying from you and they want to be comfortable with what you're saying, with how they feel when they speak to you. That's representing the company. That's showing them that you're a representative that really, really does care about their needs. And that's important. And that's really how I've been successful is those relationships.
Lisa, such a phenomenal, impactful interview from building relationships, active listening, delivering an excellent, amazing customer experience, customizing, your solutions to fit each individual client's problems, learning how to put together material that's going to speak volumes to the client or prospective client. Ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the great things about our show, getting to interview amazing people like Lisa and have her share her wisdom, her experience, her knowledge with our global audience. Lisa, if our audience wants to find out more about you, your organization, what you all do, how can our global audience connect and or get in touch with you?
They can look me up on LinkedIn under Lisa Wolchuk, and I'm happy to connect and chat with anybody if they wanted to have an open discussion about sales. I obviously work for an organization that sells software, so maybe people don't need the software that I'm selling, but I also have my own company on the side where I do coaching to help people do better in sales and provide a better ROI to their clients based on positive energy and self-love.
Ladies and gentlemen, please connect with Lisa the same way that I connected with her on LinkedIn. That's how we met. And now here we are, good friends. Her and her husband have some great things going on. And we're very excited about potentially doing some work with her and her company as a speaker as she gets to know me better. And I would love to bring her value by introducing her to people in my network that could use her services. Again, what is she saying? That is the authentic tip of this great interview. If you want to be successful in business and in life, build strong relationships. Building strong relationships is absolutely the key to your long-term and sustainable success. So start doing that today. Be relationship-driven, not transactional-driven. Again, my name is Marques Ogden. I am the host of the Get Authentic with Marques show. Thanks for tuning in. Have a fantastic day.